Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Your call is very important to us. Please stay on the line and your call will be answered in the order in which it was received. You are caller number 1673.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Hope you're all having good weather out there. Tomorrow's the 4th of July, so I hope everyone's got some kind of plan to do something if the weather's okay. Maine, I don't know. It looks like we might get some rain. I don't know if that's gonna interfere with going to see the fireworks tomorrow, but we'll see. It's always wait and see around here anyway. I might try to do something tomorrow anyway, besides maybe. But anyway, yeah, so tomorrow's the 4th, and I hope everybody's got some special family event lined up to do things. And it's always good to take those times to do something nice. Anyway, I copied a video. It's not long. It's like 13-14 minutes, I guess, long, and I want you all to see it because it kind of it really, the person who did the video, he's from Occupy Democrats. His name is Anthony Vincent Gallo, and he does a pretty good job of putting stuff together to explain and enlighten people. And I found it interesting enough where I think I ought to share it with everybody. So let's go to the video here, and then I'll catch you on the other side.
The New York Times, the paper of record, is still getting blowback for their panicked and ill-considered call for Biden to withdraw from the race. And now it's not just coming from politicians, but the media itself is making the Times, America's paragon of journalism, face the music. Now, if you're like me, your heart probably sank when you saw Joe Biden take the stage for the debate. This was not the spry, energetic Biden that strided down the aisle, pressing the flesh and flashing his smile on the way to give his State of the Union speech. So the entrance to the debate was not a good look. And then, if you're like me, your heart probably sank a little more when Joe Biden spoke into the mic the first time. His voice was hoarse and weak. Maybe, unlike me, you didn't think, hey, audio mixer, boost the mic. I'm not taking it for granted that most of you have sat in a studio control room, and so you don't know that there's a dedicated technician for adjusting audio levels. All he had to do was turn the little knob to the right, or take the slider and move it up some. But wait, oh no, because Joe Biden was hoarse, too much air is going through the mic. Up the level, and you up all that air passing through. Yeah, and that's why there's about 8 different adjustment knobs that could be employed to compensate. But nada. Thanks for doing your job, CNN. But I digress. It was a disappointing start. Could have been mediated and wasn't, but a disappointing start. And then, like me, your heart probably sank even further when Biden stumbled over a point about raising taxes on billionaires and how it could fund health care. He completely lost his train of thought, and it looked bad. And then, even later, Trump was hitting Biden with the Afghanistan evacuation. I found myself screaming, "Pivot, Joe, pivot!" He just opened the door on how he negotiated the release of 5,000 Taliban prisoners and how their release is responsible for the fall of the Afghan government. But Joe didn't pivot. So probably you, like me, were starting to panic a little over how poorly Biden was doing and how much Trump was getting away with. But here's the deal. Neither you nor I work as editor-in-chief of the New York Times. It's okay for you and I to hit the panic button. We don't run a major media organization. We are not in charge of journalists who are supposed to be seasoned professionals covering politics. Mara Gay, on the other hand, is the editor of the New York Times, and she and her staff could not write editorials fast enough telling Joe Biden he should step down. For the Times and every other media pundit crying out for stepping down, Biden's performance at the debate was worse than Dan Quayle being told, "You're no Jack Kennedy," and worse than Nixon sweating too much when he faced Kennedy. Well, today, MSNBC's Mika Brzezinski put Mara Gay on the hot seat. Well, let's take one quick look at this interview and then a longer look afterwards. But here is the opening question.
And Mara, I'd love for you to respond and ask if the New York Times editorial board considered the hundreds of times, easily, that Donald Trump has seemed unfit and perhaps would be deserving of a call to drop out or resign.
Yeah, so we have, over the course of ever since Donald Trump has been in the public eye, we have made clear that this is not a president, a former president who we supported. And actually, in our editorial over the past few days, we also made clear that were the election held today, our choice would be obvious, which would be Joe Biden.
So coming out of the gate, Mika Brzezinski asks in hindsight what we all should have been asking. Why is this on Biden? Why is it no matter how outrageous or illegal Trump is, the media first sensationalizes it, then normalizes it? But when Biden makes a mistake, it's time to abandon ship? Her direct question is, when, if ever, did you call for Trump to resign? And Gay's response is pure PR spin. She deflects completely. It's a tough question coming out of the gate, and she dances around it like her father was Baryshnikov. And one can't help but ask, why? Why is that such a tough question? The obvious answer is no, we never have. So it's actually not a tough question. The follow-up question, why not, is the tough question. And the answer there is because our corporate masters won't allow us to. And the corollary question to why didn't you put this on Trump is, why did you panic in the first place? Gay and her editorial board are supposed to be the professionals, the experts, or at the very least, the people who know who the experts are. As professionals, they know, for example, that this was A, a small audience, and B, an audience largely comprised of voters who had already made their decision. The infamous middle ground undecided voter is undecided for a reason. They are disengaged, and we won't see them until September, which means they're not watching. Gay and her staff had the same reactions we all did. This is a terrible performance. And from there, they built a reasonable narrative. People watching this who haven't made up their minds are going to choose Trump over Biden because Trump looks strong and Biden looks and sounds old. The problem with that narrative is that it's not based on facts and demographics. That part of the electorate that is undecided was, for the most part, not watching. The Times has access to that demographic information. They threw it out the window. The other thing Gay and the Times had access to is Alan Lichtman, who has accurately predicted 9 presidential elections using a rubric of 13 key indicators that contribute to electoral success. Here's what Lichtman has to say about the impact of debates.
So what is
Unlike
what is
NYT.
the impact, do you think?
0. Debates are not predictive of outcomes. Hillary Clinton won all 3 debates, still lost. John Kerry won all the debates, still lost. Barack Obama got trounced, 72 to 20% in the poll, worse than Biden, and went on.
Maine homeowner hack number 3. Here's how to get the government to give you thousands of dollars every year only if you have a home in Maine. So for this one, guys, I got weird little panels installed at absolutely no cost out of pocket here in Maine.
To win.
Rather than admit that the Times is making decisions based on impressions and not data, Gay stuck to her guns and advocated her position again. Take a look.
But we also have to be clear and honest with ourselves about what we saw the other night. It is not the same Joe Biden that we saw 4 years ago. I think reasonable people can say we saw this with our eyes. You know, one of the things that has been most inspiring for me about Joe Biden, about the president, his life story is remarkable. Mika, you got into it a moment ago. He has come from behind again and again. When he's fallen, he's gotten up. His family story, his personal story, that's all inspiring to me. The thing that is the most inspirational, though, is that he has always known how and when to put country before himself. And we believe that in this moment, that public service that he needs to do right now, the best thing he could do would be to step down and to allow a very deep bench of younger talent in the party waiting in the wings to emerge.
Now, the incredible thing about sticking with this point is that Al Sharpton had already shot it down in terms of practicality. Here's what Sharpton had to say before Gay tried repeating her position.
What happens if he steps out? We're going to have a riotous convention. We're going to have this crowd against this crowd against this crowd. All Donald Trump has to do is sit back, get a Big Mac, and watch the Democrats destroy themselves. Because how do you come out of a late August convention of people questioning whether they're going with Kamala Harris or not, or the other one, or the other one, or the other one, and unite that party in 2 months to beat Donald Trump? That's your options. So do you want to whine or do you want to win?
So Gay really has nothing to stand on here. The Times position is not only impressionistic and not analytic, it's not only out of touch with data, but it's also impractical. But watch Gay try and dance around that, doing a 2-step on the ageism which undergirds her position.
I do find some of it to be ageist, but not everyone ages the same way. So there is no shame in being 81 years old. It is actually remarkable. He has been a wonderful president, hugely effective, but it does not appear that he is the same as he was 4 years ago, and that is undeniable.
She criticizes ageism and then argues that Biden is too old. Brzezinski is having none of it. Watch her response.
At the same time, I think of all the different opportunities editorial boards across the board could have told Donald Trump to resign or drop out and take that bold step. And yes, he's 81. He's definitely not the man he was 4 years ago or 10 years ago. People age, and age is not the end of the world. Age actually, in some ways, can be valued. We can look at what Joe Biden has done in this presidency, and we can thank his age, his knowledge, not only from the work he's done, but from his failures in life, from his setbacks in life. You become strong.
Now, on the one hand, you have to admire Brzezinski not giving up her initial point. And yet, you and the rest of the media never asked Trump to step down. Before she goes about refuting Gay and the ageism of her position. It is solid pushback, but Mika does allow Gay to take her down the rabbit hole of age. What gets ignored here is the artificial way in which the structure of the debate exacerbated Biden's stuttering problem. which then got interpreted as proof of old age. Like many people who stutter, Biden uses strategies to overcome the disability, but these strategies take time, and they frequently use intentional pauses. The debate format forced Biden to abandon them too quickly. The media is not interested in that. It works against their narrative. Having a stutter didn't hold Biden back professionally until the New York Times decided it should. And then they don't have the decency to say, maybe we made a mistake. And these are the professionals? Focusing on Biden and his age is also a great deflection for something else. The media's abject failure to take down Trump, for letting him get out of the gate in 2016 and fueling the race as it went along. They would much rather talk about and give legs to how old Biden is. That's pathetic. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.
Alrighty, so there you go. It's a pretty interesting scenario there that that the New York Times has kind of been putting out there since the debate last week, and you know, I just he hit on so many interesting points, and the one big point I think that really makes the credibility of Mara Gay and the New York Times' credibility is shot is that if they're so worried about the impression that Joe Biden put out in the debate last week, okay, and they feel like, well, he should do the American thing for the American people and just drop out, why haven't they said anything about asking Trump to drop out? Because the impression that Americans have about him is way worse than what they saw in that fucking debate last week from Joe Biden. Why don't they ask him to drop out? He's a fucking criminal. You know, should we go down the laundry list of things that he's done that's really made him the less likable candidate? The less likable person to be president? I mean, do we really need to spell this out to the New York Times? They've been asleep at the wheel here for months now while this shit's been playing out, and nobody over there has said anything about Trump. Maybe you ought to drop out because, hey, it looks bad. You know, you look bad at it. If you're a real journalist, you don't take a side. Okay, the story should be the same on both sides. If you think if you think Biden looks bad and he should drop out, then you gotta look at the facts on the other side. You know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would agree that Trump shouldn't even be running for president because he's not qualified in any rational situation that you can put out there. Okay, Trump doesn't even, you know, qualify to be a political leader for anything because of his criminal record now. He shouldn't even be running for office. And there's still pending things out there that he hasn't answered for yet. And you're going to let this guy win a seat so he can take and snap his fingers and wash all that away so he never has to answer for it? I mean, how stupid can you get? You're going to give the man the tools to fucking erase his own goddamn crimes? Jesus. Only in a society this stupid would they set that up to happen. And it's like I say a lot. Always depend on people to do exactly the wrong thing, okay? Because people always have to learn the hard way. And sometimes they have to learn that same lesson the hard way several times before it finally sinks in, okay? And unfortunately, this is a situation that won't surprise me if the outcome comes the way I think it's gonna, okay? But I'll tell you right now, it's going to be, everybody is going to be like running for the hills to avoid being blamed for it when it's done, okay? Because I'm telling you right now, they don't know what they're getting into backing this fucking guy. And the New York Times doesn't know what it's getting into by slamming the other side, you know, who they shouldn't be doing. They should be coming down harder on Trump because he spent that whole 90 minutes in that debate lying his fucking ass off, you know? Does that matter at all to the New York Times that the guy that that they're asking not to drop out of the race lied for 90 minutes on every fucking question? I guess, like the guy said, the only thing that matters to Mayor Gay was that the impression. Really. So the fact that he lied didn't make any cause for concern at the New York Times. I mean, come on, we all know what this means. New York Times is on Trump's side, okay? That's what it is. These are people who claim to be journalists, and they're not even acting like journalists. They're taking sides in this fucking thing, and she's doing that. And because the people that run the New York Times are all in Trump's corner, monkey see, monkey do, they're gonna fucking go right ahead and follow the leader, you know what I'm saying? That's what they're gonna do. So, Mara Gay, that's what she's doing. She's following the leader, doing what the boss tells her to do. She's got no journalistic ethics at all. She sold that to the highest bidder, And so, whatever the hell from this point on the New York Times says, I don't think that anybody should bother to read it. That's my opinion. I think people should just say adios, New York Times. Stop subscribing, stop reading their articles. They can kiss my ass and go straight to hell for all I care, because now we know where they're at. They're not even a fucking news agency as far as I'm concerned, because they're showing their true colors here. They might as well be Fox New York Times. You know what I'm saying? They might as well be in bed with Fox, because that's exactly what that's what they've done here. And I'm glad the other lady there on the Senate was pointing that out to her. I think she felt personally offended, that they bringing this age up. I mean, here Mara Gay looked like she's in her 30s. The other woman is probably in her late 40s, early 50s. She's sitting here talking that age is such a bad thing. Really. Experience counts for nothing, right? Biden has got experience in droves as a politician. What the hell does Trump got experience in? Can someone tell me? Other than an experience at lying? He didn't even make the fucking fortune that he's been living on. His father did. He inherited that fucking money, and he's been fucking with it ever since. Okay, this is a guy who's born with a silver spoon up his ass. He's the exact thing that everybody in this country hates. Okay, aside from his crimes, people in America don't want the wealthy controlling the country, and he is the wealthy. Okay? They're pushing the fucking guy that they've been for decades bitching about being in control of our government. Now they're putting the fucking guy the fox in the hen house is what they're doing. They're pushing the fox right into the hen house. And he's just that. He's the goddamn fox in every fucking way. And they think they're going to get a fair shake from this fox. Goddamn, these fucking MAGAs are so stupid. Oh, God almighty. They are cursed. They are a cursed people. They are cursed. I don't know if you can say that the blame lands on our public education system for making idiots like that. People who somehow graduated high school and got a diploma. And they don't have any critical thinking skills, or they don't know how to understand bullshit when they hear it. Who were the teachers? What schools did they come out of? I think the schools just, maybe you guys ought to just hey, don't say your name. Don't tell us who you are, okay? Because we don't want our school name attached to you because you're nuts. All right? How you got the diploma was the fault of the teachers. They did something. They gave you passing grades for doing nothing. Okay, you people don't deserve, your diplomas. Some of them probably don't have them, which, would stand to reason. But those that do, you guys ain't using the fucking education you supposedly got, especially if you went to college. If you ought to be ashamed. You ought to really wear a bag over your head through life. Okay, don't let anybody know you voted for Trump if you're college educated. Okay, shame on you. Okay, you guys are really fucking nuts. You didn't learn a goddamn thing. I don't know if you ever will. Some of you people are elder, like 70, 80 years old, and I know more than you. You guys, you really are stain to this fucking country. And you go around with your MAGA hats and your MAGA signs and your flags and your big ass loud vehicles and shit, and you think, oh, we're so patriotic. Yet you'll go out there and harass a politician. storm the Capitol, hunt down the vice president, kill some cops. You know, patriots don't attack their own fucking capital. That's not patriotic. That's terrorism. That's what that is. We have a system in place. If you're not happy with the government, use it. Learn about it. That's what it's there for. What you're doing is not anything written down anywhere. It says you're allowed to do this sort of thing. For some reason, some of you think you're allowed to go and do shit like that. No, you're not. Okay, you're not allowed. Taking up arms against your country is not allowed. I'm sorry. That's the job of the government to take care of itself, and that's what you people wanted to see happen. That's what you people want. But you're going about it all the wrong ways. All right? What you're doing is creating a terrorist movement. That's what you are. That's an enemy, foreign, domestic. An enemy and domestic, that's what that is. And we have contingency plans for domestic terrorism in this country, in case you didn't know, thanks to George W. Bush, by the way. Okay? You can thank him for the fact that, you know, everybody's being bugged. You know, everything you're doing is not private practically anymore now. You can thank George W. Bush for that. And for some of you people sitting in prison because of January 6th, you can also thank him for that too. Because if it hadn't been for Homeland Security and the Patriot Act and all that stuff, you guys wouldn't have got caught. The FBI wouldn't have been able to snatch those videos. Okay, so, but now they can. So, you know, you people, you're short-sighted. You always were. And when you supported that, you had no idea that you'd be the victims of your own goddamn rules. Just like Trump is right now. He's going to be facing laws that he tightened on espionage in this country while he was president that are now going to have to apply to him. That he passed 4 or 5 years ago, okay? So, hey, like I said, short-sightedness. And you guys are being short-sighted now by supporting Trump. You think you're going to get immediate results in your favor. You're not going to see a goddamn thing. I'm sorry to say. Not a fucking thing he's said or maybe promised that he was going to do for you is not going to happen. You people in prison for him, you're still going to be in prison after. He ain't going to pardon none of you fuckers. Okay? Okay? He's going to pardon himself first, and then he won't have anything to pardon after that. Okay? So you guys will be completely off the goddamn radar. You'll do your time, and that's it. And I'm sure you'll be thankful still that he was president and forgot about you. You know, that's loyalty for you. It only goes one way in his world. You got to be loyal to him. He doesn't have to be loyal to you. You know. But for the New York Times, all these things, that doesn't give you pause to ask him to drop out of the race. No. You guys that run the New York Times, you still think Trump is your man? That you're going to get goodies from him while he's in the White House? Do you really think that's worth it? What you're doing? You know, what did he promise you? You know, that's what I'd like to know. What did he promise he was going to give you if you support him? You know, tax breaks, really? You think you really need more tax breaks than you already got now? Christ, the rest of us are paying more for our share of this country than you are. We're actually better citizens than you are, because we answer to our responsibilities. You don't. You find ways out of it, thanks to lawyers that are stupid enough to give you the loopholes to find it to get through. You know. Okay, let's go to commercial break. Be back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. The whole point of their immigration policy is to ensure political control, replace the population, get a different outcome.
Now to Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson under fire, losing more advertisers this morning after claiming immigrants make America poorer and dirtier.
We begin tonight with the sudden departure of Tucker Carlson from Fox News.
Tucker Carlson Tonight is officially over and rebranded.
Right now, it's time for Fox News Tonight, so let's get started.
Google apparently doesn't think whites exist.
Every time something big happens with weather, it's climate change.
They want to take away your stove, your refrigerator, your air conditioner, and they want to even take away your meat.
Affluent white female liberals. Awfuls.
Taco bowls. Donald Trump sells taco bowls. Does Joe Biden sell taco bowls?
Here's how it all went down. Take a look.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on. Oh, stop it.
I think any other response kind of would have been a little gutless.
This is liberal suburban house husbands. So is the government controlling the weather with laser beams?
I hope that she's the Yoko Ono of the Kansas City Chiefs.
You know I recommend that all men refrain from using straws.
There's no indication of the nefarious intent. But of course, you've been talking a lot about the potential for foul play given the wide open border.
I mean, you have a border that's wide open. No one asks a man to close it. Black Americans online, some of them are saying, I'm voting for Trump now, because they too have sometimes felt they've been unfairly targeted by the criminal justice system.
Transvestite Recognition Day, so-called.
Is Donald Trump at risk of being America's first real political prisoner?
Primetime obviously has no evidence, but we're curious.
President Biden was asked if Trump supported an insurrection.
The mugshot has breathed new life into the Trump campaign and broadened his appeal to black Americans. This is historical fact that slaves did develop skills while they were enslaved and then used those skills as blacksmiths, as in agriculture, as Joe Biden ever dated a black woman.
There is nobody who can move merch like Donald Trump.
He can be president from jail if he has to.
I hurt members of my family every night.
I call it complete lunacy.
Just watch us. We'll tell you both sides.
Take a look. I guess we don't have it.
Before we go, a little update on a story we brought you this week about homeless vets being displaced from hotels so that illegals could move in. Turns out the group behind the claim made it up.
I'm proud to be promoting the God Bless the USA Bible. It's my favorite book.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody.
Donald Trump found guilty all 34 counts of falsifying business records.
Donald Trump's hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
She'd had an affair with Trump.
I am the chosen one.
The Trump Organization frauded the state of New York.
$354 million.
I'm very greedy.
We must make America pray again.
How stupid are the people of the country to believe this crap?
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Get that? Holy
Okay, welcome back. There's an op-ed piece here from the Boston Globe I want to read here, and it's written by Kimberly Atkins Stower, entitled, Biden Dropping Out as a Fantasy, Democrats Can Win If They Fight. Presidential campaigns are not fantasy sports leagues with easy levers to pull to maneuver into a more ideal position, including swapping out players. They are long games that benefit from steadiness, resolve, and the willingness to battle. Calls for President Biden to bow out of the presidential race after his disastrous debate performance last Thursday leave a big open question. Then what? The answer is more than just a little inconvenient. It is full of untold uncertainties, complexities, and opportunities for disaster, underscoring that presidential campaigns are not fantasy sports leagues with levers to pull to maneuver more ideal position, including swapping players. They are long games that benefit from steadiness, resolve, and the willingness to battle. And with the certain threat Donald Trump poses to the country and its democracy, the time for fever dreams is over. It is time for Democrats to fight like they want to win. Imagine if Trump had taken to the debate stage and fell into a coma-like stupor. Do you think Republicans would call on him to step down? Nope, they'd make up some lie, blaming Democrats for the former president's unconsciousness and press on. Republicans stood by him after the Access Hollywood tape and after multiple claims of sexual abuse, including one that ended in a jury verdict. After Trump coddled white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia, lied incessantly, was charged with dozens of felonies, and fomented an anti-democratic coup to hold on to power, Republicans dug in and stuck by their man. That is because Republicans have decided time and time again that a Trump victory is in their interest, and they will fight for all at all costs, even the loss of their own dignity. I'm not suggesting Democrats be so dangerously delusional. They don't have to be. They just have to put the feeling in the pits of their stomachs aside for a moment and look at the facts. Fact number one is that a candidate swap at this point is a pipe dream. The fancy of the Biden must go movement relies on a number of things falling magically into place without a hitch. Biden would have to agree to end his campaign. Another candidate, so perfect that the vast majority of the Democratic electorate falls almost instantly behind them, would have to emerge and get Biden's blessing, like resurrecting JFK. Then the 4,000 pledged Democratic convention delegates, who are nearly unanimously behind Biden right now, would all have to declare in unison, quote, "No problem. We're behind this new candidate that 10 minutes ago we had no intention of supporting," unquote. Before the new candidates' convention nomination, Democrats would have to figure out other problems, like how to get that candidate on the general election ballot in the crucial battleground state of Ohio, which has a pre-convention certification deadline. Oh, and then there is that pesky little wrinkle of convincing the Democratic electorate that overwhelmingly supported Biden in the primary to willingly accept mass disenfranchisement and let the Democratic apparatus tell them, quote, tis, settle down, we know better than you, unquote. Piece of cake, right? Recall 1980, when jittery Democrats worried that President Jimmy Carter's re-election prospects thought Senator Edward Kennedy could save the day. How'd that end? With the inauguration of Ronald Reagan and a battered Democratic Party, that's how. And that was without a MAGA-run GOP machine and its fire hose of disinformation turned on full blast and aimed at Democrats and the American public. Now, let's turn to reality, which is a much more beneficial place for Democrats. They have a well-known incumbent candidate with an actual record of results, including averting a post-pandemic recession, boosting jobs and wages, curtailing illegal border crossings, giving student borrowers relief, investing in infrastructure, and signing into law electoral count reforms that will make another January 6th insurrection less likely, just to name a few. He also appointed a Supreme Court justice who actually understands how originalism works to protect all Americans, as opposed to the 3 appointed by his opponent that helped strip away 50 years of reproductive rights with the swipe of a pen. Yes, Biden is old, but so is Trump. The last time these two old men faced each other, Biden beat Trump handily. Biden is the only candidate who has beaten Trump. That's important. Worries about a candidate being up to the task of governing for a full term are legitimate. Lucky for Democrats, the Constitution has worked out a solution for that, and it's called the vice presidency. So much of the Biden must go drumbeat not only ignores that fact that Vice President Kamala Harris has also been at the helm of a successful administration, but also that she has her own record of accomplishments. Overlooking her is not only insulting, but also shows that Democrats have let the GOP's misogynoir-driven spine aimed at painting Harris as a feckless, do-nothing, go unchallenged. Democrats needed more fight in them then to combat that anti-Harris nonsense, and they need more fight in them now. I know Biden bombed that debate. Watching it was, for me, like many democracy-loving Americans, a gut punch. Biden failed to meet the moment. But that's exactly what it was, a moment. Measure that moment in context against a successful presidency and against Trump's existential threat, and then fight like hell. Again, some good points there as well. And yes, there's been a lot of talk, and I've been scrolling through the news and stuff like that, seeing that topic come up over and over again about, oh, we need to replace Biden. It's too late for that. We're less than 5 months outside of a fucking election. How the hell are you going to sell a new candidate in this thing now? Okay, forget it. Like I said, the only person that could pull off a fucking Hail Mary like that would be JFK. If you could bring him back from the dead, JFK would be the only person who could replace Joe Biden and win it hands down without much of a fight from the other side. You know, hey, that's just the truth, okay? But barring that, all right, Joe Biden is as close to JFK as you're going to get. Yeah, he's 81 years old, okay? Yeah, he's got good days, he's got bad days. He's been having some good days here this week, you know, giving speeches and stuff like that. He sounds strong again and all that, okay? So, you know, debates aren't everything. I mean, in today's time, debates are more optics than anything, which is why the New York Times Mara Gay come out and wrote that stupid thing about, oh, Biden has stepped down. Okay, because it looked bad. Fine, it looked bad. But at the same time, if you're blind and you were just listening, it looked bad for the other side too, because Trump lied all the way through that fucking debate. You know, Christ. And so it didn't look good for either of those people. If you want to be technical about it, both sides lost in that debate. It's more convenient to make people worry because Biden looked bad. Nobody has to listen to anything. You know, if you just look like you're going to faint, oh, that's it, you lost. Even though everything you said was the truth, you still lost because you look like you're going to faint. Okay, that's very shallow. That's very two-dimensional, but that's exactly how people think these days. They judge a book by its cover, okay? And that's what they do now. And so they judge that debate by its cover, all right? No matter how many lies Trump told, he looked good telling them. And that's all that mattered to the right wing, right? As long as he looks good telling a lie, we love him, you know? So that's what they did. But a debate isn't the be-all and end-all of a fucking campaign, okay? There's been a lot of political people who did well in debates and lost, and some that started off, you know, not doing so good, who ended up winning at the end, you know? And I think that, you know, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it looked bad. It's, you know, the reason why it was such a gut punch when we saw it happen is because we hate Trump so fucking much that we don't want him to even have a sliver of hope that he's going to win. Or we don't want the other side to have a sliver of hope that they might win. So we wanted Biden to come out of that gate, you know, running is basically what we wanted. We wanted to see that, to shatter their hope. But you know something? That's a task that nobody could do. You can't shatter a cult. No matter how good Biden would have performed Thursday night, there's no way in hell he could have deflated the MAGA movement. That movement is there to stay. Trump or no Trump, the MAGA movement is there to stay. There'll be somebody else that'll pick up that baton if Trump loses, okay? And they'll still be there. Remember, they were the Tea Party once, the Teabagger movement, and then they evolved into this. They'll evolve into something else whenever they get their fancy up, you know, for another guy or girl who's, you know, running. I mean, hell, they'd even support Palin. Sarah Palin right now. They'd stand behind her if she wanted to run for president. Okay, but the thing is that this debate is just a debate. But when you look at Biden's record, his things that he's accomplished, that speaks louder than the debate ever will. Okay, 90 minutes doesn't cover the 3.5 years he's been president. Okay, that 90 minutes really was just for show. It's how can I put it? It's like wrestling. All right, it doesn't solve anything. It's just watching two people on the stage, you know, and that's it. That's why I hate watching debates. That's why I didn't watch it the other night, because I knew it would be a shit show. Either Trump would ruin it by all the lies he was saying, you know, and not give Biden a chance to really come back at him. Okay, I just didn't want to watch it. It's not that important. Debates are not important. What matters to me is a person's resume. Okay, if you were a boss running a business and you had two people come to you for the same fucking job, are you going to just say you get the job because you look good? You know, I know some of you probably would, especially if the other person was a woman, right? You know, let's be honest here. Looks gets everything. But what if that person that doesn't look that good has a stellar resume that goes back, you know, a long time and has done a lot of good and made a lot of money for a lot of people and stuff? You know, you'd be stupid to put, you know, bare looks against, you know, accomplishments like that. There's a reason why people get awards and trophies, okay, and recognition for the things that they do. Okay, it's important. But we spend too much time on the visual, you know, how somebody looks at the moment. We spend too much time. We give into our basic instinct, you know, all the time. And I think we satiate that too damn much these days. I really do. I think we've lost our moral compass when it comes to judging people. You know, we always say, well, the guy didn't look like a criminal. That's because you look at a book, you judge a book by its cover. Nobody looks like a criminal. You judge that by their actions. You know, nobody. I mean, some people you think might be criminal are probably good people. People you that would take the shirt off their back to give to you. It's because you look at everybody and you judge them by what you see instead of, you know, how they act. You know, I don't know why it's like that. I guess it depends on people's experiences in life or something. You know, bad things happen to certain people. I don't know, but it's not fair to take those attitudes and put them out on everybody. But we do that, and I'm not saying that I'm innocent of that either. Okay, sometimes I do the same goddamn thing, and I'm trying to stop myself from doing that, because you know something what that leads to? Bigotry. When you start generalizing people that easy, and you start looking at everybody as lesser than you, or somebody that's trouble, that could be trouble, you start making some really weird thoughts in your mind, and you start judging people based on preconceptions that you don't even have any fact to back up. That's how racism started, you know? And so, you know, it's a conscious fight, and we all should be taking up that fight, because if you're not doing it, you're letting yourself run wild, and your mind is so filled with so many preconceptions, you don't even know which end is up anymore, okay? But when we apply that flaw in our character to politics, boy, does it show. It really does show, because we got some bad choices in our government these days that that a wiser mind never would have allowed to have happen, okay? And you know who I'm talking about. Never would have saw that happen in a wiser society that would have tackled the issues of not being led by what you see. Instead, you know, try to judge by what you hear, by what a person's accomplished and stuff like that. We don't vet. We expect other people to do that for us. But no, we're all responsible for that. That's why they present these people to us in public forums and stuff like that, so that we can hear them, that we can see them, and judge for ourselves the viability of these individuals, okay? Trump's already lost that fight, at least with me anyway. You know, he has no fucking positive on his side to make me think that he has any reason to be a president, okay? He just doesn't qualify. And, you know, it doesn't mean that, you know, he can't find something else to do that would be better for him, you know, but, you know, hey, he's messed up his life so bad that why should we bring that baggage into the White House? Haven't we had enough scandal as it is in there these days? I mean, Christ, I mean, while he was in there, he did so much shit that we're still trying to sort through it. Why do we want 4 more years of that asshat in there, okay? Think about it. God, the White House is so full of horrors from its history. I think, you know, we need to have an exorcist go through that White House, you know? Jesus, that place, too many bad things have happened in there, you know? So why stain that damn place even more by putting that son of a bitch back in there for another 4 years? I mean, Jesus, you think, you know, the poison he'd put in that White House would bleed onto everybody in the whole country, okay? And, you know, there's wise people out there trying to tell younger people what this man is, okay? And, you know, you need to listen, because they ain't saying this shit just for attention, okay? They're saying this stuff because they know. They see it. They're wiser. They have the bullshit filter, and everything they know about this man in their own experience, because these are wealthy people too, and they've run, you know, through across his path, you know, once or twice in their life, and they probably heard more things about that guy than you did, you know, so they know this man probably better than you do, and they're telling you, don't fucking back this guy. He's trouble. They told you that in 2016, they're still telling you that now. He hasn't changed. He's gotten worse. His own niece is out there, you know, railing against him, because she knows him better than all of America. She grew up with that cocksucker, so who the hell would know better than her, right? Grace, you know, she's got a whole family experience with that guy. You know, he's like what the hell they call it, the J.R. Ewing there on Dallas here. That's what Trump is in that house. He was just the man that brought trouble into that family all the fucking time. He never did anything above the law. You know, he was always under it, and he was always fucking in the gutter all the time with shit that he was doing. Right, womanizer and chasing skirt all the time, spending money like a drunken sailor, starting and crashing businesses right and left. You know, Christ, he did nothing for society. You know, and when he had the chance to do something for society to prove that he really is a good guy, as being president, what better opportunity? He failed. He failed at that. Because it ain't in his character. At 78, 79, you know, it's not in his character to try to be somebody for America. He can't do it. He just can't do it. He's got too many old habits. You can't train an old dog with new tricks. He can't turn his life and his character around to be a person that serves us. He don't serve anybody but himself. Okay? If anything, you serve him. Okay? That's why he wants to be the king. Because the king never has to do a goddamn thing. Everything comes to the king. All the wealth goes to the king. That's what he wants. He wants to sit on his throne, okay, and suck in the wealth and be the king. That's what he wants. And nothing he does is against the law. Everything he does is A-okay. That's what he wants. You know, whoever gives him the most money and kisses his ring the most will get favors from him. You know, like banning abortion. You give him enough money, he'll ban abortion for you. You give him enough money, he'll start a war somewhere. You know, that's what he does. That's what he wants to be. He thinks that's what the presidency is. He didn't pay attention in school very well, did he? You know, presidency isn't anything like that at all. But in his mind, it is. Okay, that's what he thinks it is. And so, while the New York Times is trying to justify what they wrote about Joe Biden as being, you know, some ethical standard or something like that, even they can't hold up to their own ideals and use that same scale, that same way of measuring a person's viability with Donald Trump. They can't even use it on him, despite all the things that he's done wrong and all the scandal he's created and the darkness that surrounds that man. They couldn't bring themselves to say, maybe he ought to drop out, okay? Maybe the Republican Party needs a better candidate than Donald Trump. They wouldn't do it. They won't do it. Why? Because, I don't know, maybe they think Trump will do something to the New York Times. Everybody is under this thumb of fear about this man, and that right there ought to make you wonder why we should put him in the White House. If he's already got people shaking in their shoes over him being president again, that's not a good thing either. You don't want somebody that can scare the shit out of people, you know, for uttering something. You know, what kind of, that's not a person you think could be a president. That's a guy who wants to be a dictator. That's what Hitler did. He shut down all the press things in Germany that were writing shit about him. Okay? Had the SA go in there and beat the hell out of the editor and the boss and everybody and close them right down. People couldn't get any more news out of these places anymore because it wasn't Hitler's propaganda, you know. Now so now that, you know, the New York Times is, you know, maybe that's what it is. They're shaking in their shoes and they're too scared to write anything against them. It's safer to write against Biden. You know, because that shows their loyalty to Trump. See, Trump, look what we wrote against Biden. Do you like us? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's like kids. You know, I do this for you. It's like the mob. You know, I do this for the Godfather. You know, I show my loyalty to you. I do this for the Godfather. That's what this is. That, you know, that's what Trump really is. It boils down to. He's a mob boss. That's what he should be running for. He needs to go and start a mob, a gangster movement, or some goddamn thing in the Bronx or whatever the hell they do this shit. You know, like on The Sopranos. Start a mob. You want to be a criminal? Fine. Stop pretending that you can be a politician and just be a criminal, because that's what you are at the end of the day. You're a criminal. All right. Jesus, you ought to be sitting next to Gotti, for Christ's sake. Jesus. All right, that's it. I hope everybody has a great 4th of July tomorrow. I really do, because I think we need to inject some reality into our lives here about our country and remember what that holiday is for. We separated ourselves from a king back then. We got our independence from the monarchy in England. Don't create a monarchy here in the United States and reattach us to one. We don't want that. That's not what we wanted. Okay, monarchy didn't work good when we was over there, and it's still, you know, not what we want here. I mean, Jesus, I think we want our voices heard. That's what we want, and that's what we got to keep in mind when we look at the fireworks. You know, Americans want their voices heard. We don't want to be ignored or stepped on. You know, because that's where we're headed right now with Trump. So subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for any health matters. You know, treat each other nice. Tomorrow when you're out there watching the fireworks together, you know, talk to people or something, you know, and avoid politics. Jesus Christ. And, you know, I hate to say this, but it's a reality in our country. Anything strange going on, is somebody acting weird or something, you know, keep your eye on them. You know, you don't know what's going to happen. Christ, gun crimes and shit today. Just be careful, that's all. So I'll talk to you guys later. So take care, buddy.